I do not have good-looking lips. I definitely don't have as good-looking lips as Magenta. I had to start it this way because Rocky Horror Picture Show has been on my mind lately, and that's what started me thinking about this particular little slice of things I'm thinking about. So the conversation came up about Rocky Horror and whether it was appropriate for different ages, or what was so unacceptable in 1973, or well 75 if you're talking about the movie, but dates aside, what was taboo and risque in the 70s versus now? Here we are, decades later. We used to go see that movie as a midnight film, and then it became a following where people were having parties, and there's a talk back script almost. It's a very popular film. So while thinking about it, I was just had this thought in my mind of, like, is Richard O'Brien still alive? The guy who wrote it, Riff Raff, played in the film, but I was like, is he alive? I know he, I saw a couple other things, Denton and all this other stuff, and it got me thinking. My dad, when we'd go to visit him, he'd get we'd stay down the weekend. He would always get the Sunday paper, and he would get the Parade magazine and pull out the obituaries of famous people that have died or have had birthdays, and it would be like a guessing game, like, hey, Ruth Buzzy, how old, and we would all guess or whatever. And all those names I recognized because I grew up on them, but they were his generation's entertainment. And now my generation's entertainment is, dying off, or, retiring, getting old, dying. And a lot of people don't know the old names. And that's what I was thinking about with the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Because it was in my mind, and because I remembered Dad pulling out the, death notices and birthday notices, I'm singing. I was up this morning at 3:30 to get to work, 3 o'clock, and I'm singing the Rocky Horror Picture Show science fiction double feature in the shower, and it's got names. It's got all the old names from the 1950s science fiction films. And I was thinking about appropriateness, or whether or not you bring it, when you bring it to a new audience. Does anybody even know who Leo G. Carroll and Michael Rennie and all these names? These names are disappearing. They're gone. They are last generation's entertainment, and nowadays that is no longer a name. And it's a name like Celluloid Heroes by the Kinks, George Saunders. Nobody knows who that is anymore. Greta Garbo, huge name, immortalized in cartoons and stuff. That's the only reason anybody really still knows her name, is if you watch Looney Tunes. They've made a couple little references to her here or there, but a lot of those names are gone. So we get a small slice of time that we get to live in. My slice is from 1972 until it's until my slice is over. I get to experience whatever I can. I can read history books, and I can read about entertainers, or kings and queens or whatever in far gone history, but I'll never experience them. And I can watch old movies, but those are old movies. You're not going to watch them all, and they're all disappearing with time. And there's gonna be a time where, like many of you who are not into the Rocky Horror cult, you're asking yourself, who the hell's Richard O'Brien? What's Magenta? I don't get it. That's gonna disappear with time. Somebody, 21, the year 2100, somebody will still be a fan, but it's not gonna be well known. Like the name Greta Garbo, one of the biggest names, and I don't think you're going to find a lot of people that know who she is nowadays if they're under 30. And that's who's taking over, man. So we only get a small slice of time. Make it good. Make it count. Do something good with it. You're going to pass, and so are all your heroes. So do something good with your slice of time, man.